Hi, today is Monday, May 8th, 2023. Today is the Parents' Day in Korea. It's not a public holiday, but it's kept religiously by all the people to commemorate the sacrifice and unending devotional love uh, by parents and how they contribute to the society or the family's welfare. So today you will see a lot of carnation flowers, roses, carnations handed out to the people, elderly people on the street, or the children, adult children visit their parents to pin rose or carnation flower on the left side of the chest of their parents. But since it's Monday, almost all of them did that yesterday or any day for the last 3 days, because Friday was the Children's Day and it was a public holiday, so it was a 3 consecutive holiday for Korea. So many people came down to the rural areas, such as Gwangju city, to visit their parents with their young children. So it was a great family get together. A lot of people went outside for dinner, for lunch, nice foods, coffees, and the cookies. So it helped mobilize the economy a little bit. Speaking of economy, the Turkey is in deep hot water, deep shit. So let's take a look at how the Turkey is doing during this election. I visited Turkey and I have a Turkish friends, Salih and and his wife. They came to Yosu City in Korea to attend the Expo Yosu 2012, and I became friends to them, and I need to visit them one more time to treat them to a nice dinner, because I promised but I didn't pay for their dinner, so I'm really sorry about that. So here we go. A poisoned chalice awaits Turkey's election winner, the economy. Taming runaway inflation will be vital, but that could mean eye-watering interest rates, perhaps as high as 30%. Prices raged out of control, and debates over the cost of staples from onions to cucumbers have figured prominently in the run-up to the May 14th election. Burak Kara Get Images by Elsin Poyrazlar, May 3rd, 2023. So it's only 5 days old. 6 minutes read. I expect it would be 20 minutes read. Press play to listen to this article. It's voiced by artificial intelligence. Let's hear it.
A poisoned chalice awaits Turkey's election winner, the economy. Taming runaway inflation will be vital, but that could mean eye-watering interest rates, perhaps as high as 30%.
Okay, now listen to my voice.
Don't envy whoever wins Turkey's election this month.
You can
the victor could immediately be blown off course by strong economic headwinds.
Don't envy whoever wins Turkey's election this month. The victor could immediately be blown off course by strong economic headwinds. By the way, I'm trying to read this article to understand the Turkish economic and political situation right now. And also, I try to learn English or practice English by reading one English article a day So I picked this article just off the internet, and I really appreciate Politico's contribution to my effort. Politico is a famous magazine, news, I don't know, news agency in Europe. So this article must be quite good. Thanks for allowing me to read this article. Thank you. In the first decade of his 20-year rule, Recep Tayyip Erdogan rode an economic boom driven in part by manufacturers and exporters from conservative Anatolian heartlands that supported his ruling AK party, turning Turkey into one of the buzzing emerging markets to watch. Robust growth, averaging more than 7% annually between 2002 and 2007, was once Erdogan's proudest boast. Over the second decade of his rule, the story was exactly the opposite. As the president took absolute control over monetary policy and insisted on his unorthodox theory that high interest rates cause inflation. Prices raged out of control, and debates over the cost of staples from onions to cucumbers have figured prominently in the run-up to the May 14th election. I wonder why this is highlighted. Underlined. Onions fireworks. Okay, it was linked to another article. Okay, so I came back to where I left off. So they have election on May 14th. The data paints a grim picture of turbulence. According to the Turkish Statistical Institute, the country's annual inflation stood at just under 44% for April, although ENAG Group, an independent research organization, estimated that the real rate was more than twice as high at 105%. 10 years ago, in May 2013, a dollar was worth less than 2 Turkish lira. Today, it buys almost 20. If only to add fuel to the fire, the reconstruction bill for this year's devastating earthquake will total tens of billions of dollars. Both sides know the priority after the vote will be to try to staunch the bleeding and turn Turkey back into a desirable destination for all important foreign investment. Whoever comes to power, the main issue will be the economy, and it is going to be a tough first 6 months, said Ugur Gürses, a former central bank official and finance expert. Putting the experts back in charge, Erdogan has offered some indication he is willing to take a new track after the election by saying in April he was seeking to assemble a team under former economy chief Mehmet Şimşek, an orthodox economist who was a darling of investors during the early part of the government's rule. Şimşek himself has turned down Erdogan's offer to be in his cabinet by responding that he is not looking for a return to an active political role. Most economists are concerned about the talent pool that Erdogan can draw on and worry that his post-victory recipe would simply be more of the same. Erol Taymaz, professor of economics at Middle East Technical University in Ankara, said he doubted a new Erdogan administration would have the knowledgeable and skilled personnel who can solve these problems with the least cost. There is no indication that the new government will abandon its current practices that led to growth and distribution problems. The current overly centralized governance structure also reinforces these problems. it is not meaningful to do the same thing and expect a different outcome. Victory for the president in May's election definitely carries risks for the country's economic fortunes, but even if the opposition alliance triumphs, it too will be hard pressed. People walk past a picture of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in a busy shopping district on Wednesday in Istanbul, Turkey. So, in a busy shopping district on Wednesday in Istanbul. Selva Demiralp, professor of economics at Koç University in Istanbul and a former economist at the Federal Reserve Board, reckons that in the case of a victory by the opposition, which has signaled a return to more orthodox economics, interest rates may have to exceed 30% to combat inflation. That would be a huge jump from the current rate of 8.5%. She added that just how high rates will go depends on how quickly the new team gains credibility, its communication power, how stubborn inflation expectations are, and the pressures on the exchange rate. Sky-high rates would be a tough pill to swallow for any new government, as although they should tame inflation, they would also be likely to crimp business. What is crimp business? Likely to crimp. I don't know, crimp. Let's find out. Crimp. Oh, probably I have never heard of that word before. So here, crimp. 나 밭에 안 갔어. 이번에 갈 거야. 금요일날 쉬어. crimping,
Crimp.
tight hair, wave, or curl, act of folding or other action that crimps something, hindrance, person, or something that hinders, hinders economy, or otherwise interferes with somebody or something else. Crease or fold, which is made by pinching together two edges, fabric or pastry, crimp. Corrugate, frail, mold into shape, make wavy, inhibit, interfere. Crimp business. Demiralp argued a key challenge for the new government will be to establish trust both domestically and internationally to give the economy some room to maneuver and attract more foreign funding to finance the economy without stoking inflation. The six-party coalition challenging Erdogan has an economic team that includes experts such as former AK Party economic supremo and Simsak's former boss Ali Babacan, who, as well as Bilge Wilmaz, a professor at the Wharton School in Philadelphia, and advisors to the main opposition party, CHP, such as former chief economist of the Turkish Central Bank, Hakan Kara, American economist Jeremy Rifkin, and Daran Acemoglu, a renowned MIT economist. No time for half measures. The Turkish economy still has major selling points, including strong manufacturing industries ranging from cars to clothes, a customs union deal with the EU, and an ideal geographical location to supply markets in Europe, the Middle East, and beyond. Taymas said even though the current problems are significant, the Turkish economy is highly resilient and flexible, and short-term problems can be solved relatively quickly. The professor also stressed that the most important step after securing stability would be to implement industrial and technology policies. For more polling data from across Europe, visit Political Poll of Polls. Okay, Brad Wieser, a former advisor to the Turkish Central Bank, now at Global Source Partners, told Politico that Turkey needed a comprehensive stabilization and disinflation program, and a victorious opposition could not afford to be overly cautious in rolling it out. With opposition taking hold of both the presidency and parliament somehow, this can happen, but there are risks. Even then, the opposition will have to assemble a very credible economic team as soon as possible, which will need to work swiftly and cohesively. Another risk is Another risk is opting for too much gradualism or not being bold enough in the calibration of monetary fiscal policy, Wieser said. Maintaining political stability in a diverse six-party coalition might prove to be the opposition's biggest challenge. The new government will face difficult dilemmas, and it must also bear in mind that there will be local elections in 2024, Taimas said. Wieser said he was optimistic about a return to more traditional economics under an opposition government, which could mean weaker growth, but a markedly improved outlook in terms of feel-good factor. But he added a screw-up like internal bickering, not looking cohesive, being too gradualist, and not attracting enough inflows is a risk. If this opportunity is missed, then Erdogan's AK party could come back. Well, so Erdogan's team will lose this election they will be defeated by the seven-party coalition. Wow, that's amazing. Erdogan, probably he was in the presidency for the last 18 years somewhat. He was a dictator, but he led the economy very well. But somehow 2 years ago, the economy plunged to the lowest point when the coronavirus hit. When I visited Turkey, I felt like a strong atmosphere of growth, vibrancy, willingness, adore, and the beauty of the country was enormous. I felt Turkey would springboard the economy to the moon, but now it tanked. The lira to Turkey is 20 times higher, 10 times higher. Man, I should take a look into the opportunity to buy a building in Istanbul. When the economy returns back there, I could make a profit by selling it back to the economy. But I like Turkey. I would like to visit Turkey one time, or I would mind living there for 1 or 2 more years. 1 or 2 years there. I was a tourist there for 9 days only, but I like the country very much. Okay, thank you very much. I read your article very well. Politico, you did a good job. Macron, So I learned the new word, crimp, hinder, seven-party defeat, stabilization, lowest of low. Thank you for listening.